This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We are ready to rock at NRG Stadium. Watt gets him down this time. JJ with the sack. Rock and roll. Touchdown. Deshaun Watson.
Well, hello, and welcome into Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Dougherty. I am your host. We got a fun show for you because this guy is here. He's a Pro Bowler. It's Wade Smith. Played for the Texans, played around the league for about a decade. It's great to have you in here. We got a lot to discuss. You ready to do it?
Indeed, let's get it.
All right, let's get some news of the week out of the way, and we do that with the Red Diamond Iced Tea Quick Hits, and it's time for some results. The Texans not happy with this record, so the team leaders talked a little bit about it on Wednesday, and they say, got to get some wins.
You know, for me, just controlling what I can control, just doing the best I can do as a quarterback, as a teammate, as a player. For me, just really controlling and mastering my craft and doing what I can to try to get try to turn it to win games.
Perhaps helping in getting some W's in the weeks to come and starting on Sunday against the Patriots is the return of outside linebacker Jacob Martin. He played great in this game against New England last year, got a sack of Tom Brady, and he's back off the COVID-19 list.
We know that in some situations that he is a pass rusher who has to be dealt with. And so I think that his role will continue to be what it's been, and then maybe more pass rush opportunities.
And no matter what happens, win or lose, the Texans are going to make a little bit of history on Sunday because John Weeks will move past Andre Johnson on the all-time franchise list, and he's now played in more games than any other Texan in team history.
You know, I've been on a fun, tremendous journey. I've had my ups and downs. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm very grateful to be a part of this organization and to share the locker room with a great group of guys that I've gotten to share the locker room over my career, and I'm looking forward to Sunday.
And who are these New England Patriots? There's no Tom Brady. They're under 500, and it's almost Thanksgiving. Foreign territory for New England, but still a very dangerous team.
There's certainly a different aspect to the game and the way that you attack it, but it's just like any game. You have to watch the film, study them, do your best job preparing, and then go out there and play on Sunday.
All right, so that's some of the news of the week, and we've got Wade Smith in here, and this is perfect because you played in a lot of spots. You played for a long time in the NFL. Let's go back to last week. That was a weird day weather-wise. The wind was howling, 60 miles an hour at some points. It rained. The offense never really got on track. You never want to blame the weather for offense not working, but was there a little bit to that in what we'd seen from the offense before last week?
Yeah, when you talk about having explosive plays, when you take in how windy it was and the elements, that kind of severely, handicapped the Texans as far as them making plays downfield with guys like Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks, the different speed guys that they have on the roster. At the same time, the Texans moved the ball, and they had a bunch of sustained drives, but they didn't finish. You get into the red zone, you go for it on 4th and 2, and you don't get it. You know, that's taking points off the board. You get into, a scoring area, and then you kick a field goal and you miss it. And so and it was a close game. It was a 10-7 game. They moved the ball methodically, but that's not really the Texans, best way to success as far as them playing, an explosive brand of ball, which you see out of Texans from time to time.
Yeah, and so it stands to reason if they get back on the track that they were headed, they'll be back inside NRG Stadium, although the roof is probably going to be open, surprise, surprise.
Oh.
But even if it is open, that means the weather's okay and you're going to be able to play some ball. But getting back inside stands to reason this is going to be good for the offense, right? Just get things going again.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about the wind. You don't have to worry about any elements like that. And just getting back home in general, I think is going to be good for the Texans. Just getting here in familiar circumstances, getting some Texans fans in the building, I think that's going to help the offense play better and get the guys the ball. You have a lot of speed guys on the roster. Get those guys the ball in space so they can go operate.
Yeah, and just to clarify, in case any New England Patriots defenders are watching this in your hotel room, we're not saying that, hey, they're just going to roll out the football and put up a bunch of yardage, no problem. But they were kind of doing that before last week, weren't they? What have you seen growth-wise from Deshaun Watson basically since the last time you were on the show back in early September.
Well, you've seen him distributing the ball to multiple targets. You're seeing one game Brandon Cooks has a big one, and the next game Will Fuller has a big game. You're seeing Randall Cobb making a key third down conversion. You're seeing Kenny Stills make a key third down conversion. You've seen him involved in multiple spots. The tight ends getting the ball, and so if you're Deshaun Watson, you're getting the ball out quickly, and you're getting your skilled players the ball in space. You're improving as a quarterback. You're not necessarily locking on any one target. You're distributing the ball all over the place, and so that's what they tried to do coming into this season. And you saw that over the past few weeks before they went to Cleveland.
All right, since you're an offensive lineman and you did it so well in your career, help me out here. How true or false is this statement? As a unit, this Texans offensive line has been inconsistent. We've seen greatness at the tackle spots. We've seen some struggles elsewhere. How true or false is that?
I would say that's extremely true. If you're playing consistent ball, you'll be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
The Texans have struggled with running the ball the entire year, and so although you've seen Laramie Tunsil have a better season than he had last year, and last year was a hell of a season, and he's playing even better this year, and you're seeing Titus Howard come into his own at the right tackle spot. The interior three, you've struggled, and you struggled at those spots, and because you struggled at those spots, you haven't had the ability to consistently run the football. And I think that's the biggest thing that the Texans are missing right now offensively is, can you consistently run the ball, because it'll allow you to do everything that you have and utilize all the weapons you have in your offense.
Do you scratch your head and wonder why that's not happening, why they're not running the ball, or can you see what's going on?
Well, I can kind of see it, and just like you said, there could be some New England Patriots that are watching this right now, so I don't want to give out the reasons why, but I will say this is, like you said, they have to be more consistent in what they're doing and how they're doing it. On a play-to-play basis, on a week-to-week basis, in order to be a good team at running the football. And right now, they haven't shown that.
What do you see from Duke Johnson, though? It's not all, and David Johnson, I guess, as a corollary, it's not all his fault that he's not getting these yards. Some of it is the line, some of it is the blocking. But on the whole, what do you think you get from Duke?
Well, Duke has always been a guy that I've been standing on the table for, that I want to get the ball more, to get him opportunities to throw him the ball out of the backfield and run the ball between the tackles, although people might look at him that he's not a guy that can do that. And you saw against Cleveland, I can't remember his stats off the top of my head, but he was averaging around four or so yards per carry in that ball game, and he had some good runs. He shows you that he's that guy that he's not going to get tackled by the first one in the hole. And so, and the problem is that there's too often that there are defenders in the hole to where running backs can't get moving. And so that goes to the offensive line, that goes to the play calling, goes to all those different things in conjunction. But Duke Johnson is a guy that if you get him the ball in space, if you throw him the ball out of the backfield, he can be a mismatch on whoever you put against him.
And he always seems to find that little extra yard at the end when it doesn't look like it can happen. All right, we got to get into the defense after the break, but for now, we're turning to the telestrator. We got to get some X's and O's out of the way for you. To break it all down, here's John Harris.
Welcome to Texas Telestrator, presented by BMW. I'm your host, John Harris, and we're going to get right to the surface, powered by Microsoft here. So we got a new concept the Texans put in, perfect against the Browns, because the Browns like to penetrate with their guys on the interior. So this is a concept I learned watching some University of Michigan cut-ups from a high school coach friend of mine, James Light, up in Michigan. Call this play crunch, and it's essentially 3 trap blocks. Sharping traps, Fulton traps, and then Fells is going to trap right here on Richardson when Richardson comes upfield. And what you like about it, and what I remember in the game, was how fast this thing hit. Duke is a shorter distance. Usually he's about right here. He shortened that distance, and he hits that hard once he gets these trap blocks to set up. So there's 1, there's 2, there's Fells getting at Richardson, and then Duke is just going to cut it right behind him, and you can see the lane open up perfectly. Big 13-yard gain. Now you can see it again here. Blocks out. We're going to trap, and then Duke's going to hit that thing right there. Richardson comes upfield like you want. Harrison runs out of the play, and you got a nice 13-yard gain. It's a great new play scheme, and hopefully this is something we'll see on Sunday against the New England Patriots.
Oh, we love those next-gen stats presented by AWS. And look at this one. Number 50 has 50. Tyrell Adams, since he's come into the lineup back in Week 5 as a starter, he's 3rd in the AFC in tackles. Wade Smith joining me now. And Wade, you and I were kind of joking off camera. He's kind of like finding that $10 bill in your winter coat when you pull it out in the late fall. That's a nice silver lining for the season, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a guy that you, coming into this year, you didn't expect to get much out of him. You know, you had Bernard McKinney in front of him. Of course, you got Dylan Cole that was in front of him. And then, of course, you got Zach Cunningham. And so due to injuries and various reasons, he's had to be put into the limelight, and he's played well. And so that's somebody that you can look at going forward, especially when you're 2-7. You're trying to find pieces in the haystack that you can count on potentially going forward, and he's looking like he's turned into one of those guys.
He sure is, and I think the needle, the arrow, whatever you want to say, still pointed up for Jacob Martin. There were so many great things said about him during training camp. He flashed at times last year, flashed in the early part of this season. He's back off the COVID-19 list. What does his return do to this defense? Because it's had trouble getting after the quarterback.
Gives him speed. And Jacob Martin is a speed guy, and in this league is a speed league. You're going to have to be able to chase down quarterbacks. You're going to have to be able to chase down running backs, getting edges on offensive tackles, and he's shown that he can do that. And so I'm looking forward to him bringing that juice that he brings each and every play. He's one of those guys that goes 120 miles an hour every time he steps on the field. And so the Texans need that, and hopefully it can pay dividends in this game against the Patriots.
Your pal and former Texan Seth Payne, he played on the defensive side of the ball. He's a little bit before you, but he was joking with Romeo Crennel earlier this week about Ross Blacklock getting his head down, and basically he was saying there's some things a rookie can work on. When you look at Ross Blacklock, when you look at Jonathan Grenard, what have you seen from him? What can they do better, and what's got you encouraged about them?
Well, you see two guys that are talented, that show that they have the height, weight, the athletic ability, all of that stuff that you want in a player. But you also see that they're guys that are young and they haven't figured it out yet, and so they're going to have to consistently get better with their technique. You talked about Ross Blacklock. There's times that you can see that he's not quite sure of what and how he wants to attack a certain blocking or blocking scheme. That comes with repetition. That comes with constantly being out there. And so these last, I guess it's how many weeks we got left? Six weeks or 7 weeks of the season. He's got to take advantage of every opportunity he gets so that he can get himself up to speed and ready to go. He has all the physical tools you want. He has the get up and go. Now he has to put that together with the technique and just the overall mental aspect of the game, and that's what you see a lot out of young football players.
One of your favorite Texans teammates was D'Amico Ryans, played great inside linebacker here for a while, and along with D'Amico, Zach Cunningham, those are the only two Texans in franchise history to start a season with at least 80 tackles for the first 9 games. So wow. Cunningham has 92 at this point. He has been solid. What have you seen from Cunningham? Has he taken that next step? What does he need to do to maybe take a next step?
Yeah, we talked about it before the season on this show about how he was going to have a Pro Bowl caliber year. That's what I thought he was going to have. Now, the problem that he has going against him is the team's record, and a lot of times Pro Bowl, those things go hand in hand. But as far as what I'm seeing out there on the field and the production that he's giving, he's having one of those type of seasons. You're seeing him constantly being in the backfield, constantly making plays. He's the guy that when you have a solo tackle in the hole, he's making it 9 times out of 10. And so and he does it in a physical manner that you like to see. And so I'm glad to see that Zach is taking that next step forward, and he's going to have to continue to improve and get himself to even the next level as this season progresses.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to break down the matchup coming up for the Texans. But let's talk about 2010. It was a good year because you came to the franchise and John Weeks came to the franchise. Texans went 6-10, but it wasn't y'all's fault. It was some other stuff going on. But John Weeks, he's going to play in his 170th game on Sunday against the Patriots. So that's going to break a tie with Andre Johnson for 169. So it's going to be Weeks first, Johnson second. Who's third on the all-time franchise list? We'll have that answer later with a little bit of Texans trivia here on Texans Extra Points.
Directing traffic, going to try it again, and that time it will be caught. Kenny Stills for the touchdown.
Wow, that was a beautiful pass by Deshaun Watson to Kenny Stills last year when the Texans played the Patriots. They won that game, and the play before that, I'm sticking by it. That was a touchdown to Will Fuller. I thought he stayed in bounds. I thought he had control. It doesn't matter. Deshaun Watson said, I'll do it again. Wade Smith, great to have you back with us here on Texans Extra Points. Coming at you from the Ford Studios. Let's talk about the Patriots. Got an odd sort of stat line for Cam Newton. 4-4 when he starts. So the the Patriots have a 500 record when he starts. But listen to this. 3-7-9. He's only thrown 3 touchdowns this entire season.
Wow.
He's been picked off 7 times this entire season. You see that, you think lousy quarterback. But the 9, he's run for 9 touchdowns, so he's doing a little bit of something good. What do you see from Cam Newton in this iteration? Because he's had an incredible career, a varied career, and now he's up in New England doing what he's doing.
Well, they built the offense specifically around what he does best. You know, the fact of the matter is he is a physical runner of the football. Even though he's a quarterback, he's 250, 60 pounds, whatever it may be, and he's always falling forward, and he's a physical quarterback. And so most teams don't have to deal with guys like that. If you play a team like New Orleans, you're playing against Taysom Hill, 3 or 4 plays when he's doing that. When you got Cam Newton that can do that play after play after play, that's tough for defenses to deal with. So Cam Newton is healthy, and so he's using his legs to his advantage, and then they're doing the play action game off of that and getting receivers open over the middle in between the seams. And so he's a tough quarterback to deal with when it comes to that brand of football.
Yeah, you bring up that play action. We talked about Cam running the ball. How much does Cam running the ball play into how effectively they're running the ball as a team? Because they're doing pretty darn well there.
No question about it. You got to think about it. There's one defender that has to honor Cam Newton at all time, and so that makes the running lanes more open for the running backs. And so their offensive line is a damn good one. And so with them getting after people, and the offensive line goes into the game knowing that we're going to run the football, we're going to get after people, and we're good at what we do. And so we're not going to have to play I don't want to say it's a brand of football that is not in retreat, but it's completely going forward and being aggressive. And so when you're offensive lineman, you love that brand of football. And so New England is completely bought into that. And so when somebody approaches a game to say, we're going to dictate to you, that's tough to handle for defenses.
And speaking of defenses, their defense looks like one of the typical New England defenses. Very stingy, doesn't give you much, doesn't make mistakes, does it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Bill Belichick run defense, and so those guys are going to be technically sound. They'll turn you over, get interceptions. It's not like they're going to get a bunch of sacks, but they're going to rush the quarterback in a manner that's going to force you to stay in the pocket, and they're not going to allow you to break contain. They're going to force you to methodically move the ball down the field in order to beat them. And so it forces offenses to not make mistakes, and that's exactly what the Patriots love to do, is force quarterbacks to throw them the ball and to make mistakes.
Okay, so with all that in mind, you talked about methodically moving the ball down the field. That's something that the Texans weren't doing. They were getting the big chunk plays. So your Gatorade player to watch against the Patriots is
Will Fuller. Will Fuller is a guy that is going to get you explosive plays. You saw they put him back there to return kicks, and so he got you a good kickoff return there. He's a punt return there. He's a guy that is just that fast. He's a great route runner, and he's been healthy this entire season. And so the fact that he's been healthy, he's putting himself in a position to have a huge payday at the end of this year by either here or wherever, but he's putting himself in a position. He knows these last 7 games, hey, I got to go out there and consistently play an explosive brand of ball, and that's going to help my team win, but it's also going to help himself going forward. And so the Texans need to, he's going to be that guy that's the player to watch in order for them to come out with a win against the Patriots.
That's a good one. The fans, when we tweeted this out the other night, they chose Justin Reed. That's a great choice, and I'm kind of going to wiggle in and piggyback off that fan choice. I'm going with Zach Cunningham. Cunningham and Reed going to get tested defensively because, like we mentioned, this team can run the ball. It goes and pivots around their quarterback and Cam Newton. Very, very tough out for the Houston Texans. Stick with us, because when we come back, we got to get into the FCCU keys to a victory. This is Texans Extra Points.
Texans Extra Points has been sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, by Amagi Bank, official business bank of the Houston Texans, and by Jameson. Tailgate like a Texan with Jameson Irish Whiskey.
Welcome back to Texans Extra Points. Got some Texans trivia for you. Earlier, we pointed out John Weeks at 170 when he gets this game in. He's going to be the all-time franchise leader in games played, breaking the tie at 169 with Andre Johnson. So who's third? Well, with 133 games apiece, you got Dwayne Brown, who played left tackle next to this guy for a few years, as well as Jonathan Joseph, who has gone to Tennessee and now is in Arizona. All right, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about keys to a victory. What two things in your mind do the Texans really need to do against the Patriots?
So first and foremost, defensively, you know that the Patriots are going to run the ball at you and they're going to play action you. You got to force Cam Newton to fumble the ball. He in the games that they have lost, that they struggled in, he's turned the ball over. You got to force him to turn the ball over. You're going to get a lot of opportunities to hit him. You're going to have to hit him, run your feet through contact, knock that ball out, and turn them over. That's going to be a big key for the Texans because you're not going to reasonably say you're going to stop the Patriots running football. They run the ball on everybody, and that's something that the Texans have struggled with doing is stopping the run. But you can knock the ball out. That's the one. Two, offensively, you're going to have to play a fast break brand of ball. You're going to have to go for the deep shots. You're going to have to play horizontally and vertically on this field. You're going to have to get the ball to your receivers in space so that they can do work. You know, the New England Patriots are a solid defense, but I wouldn't say they're uber athletic. So you got to take advantage of your athleticism that you have on the Texans offense in order to move the ball against the Patriots.
Those are good. Fast break on offense, force a fumble or something on defense. As for me, I'm going to go with limit mistakes, whether they're offense or defensive. The mistakes have killed this team. They kill every team that loses, but if you can do those mistakes and keep those mistakes to a minimum against this team especially, you're going to be okay. And on special teams, let's make a big play. You've done it. You've seen it at times this year. The special teams has kind of held up their end of the bargain at times this year. How about a punt return for a touchdown? How about a kick return for a touchdown? They blocked some field goals. They blocked a punt. So let's do that again. I would like that. You would like that. We would all like that. So let's get a win, Houston Texans. Looking for the third one of the season. It would come against New England. If it does, the roof's probably going to be open, so there's going to be sun shining through at NRG Stadium. The sun was shining today because Wade Smith was with us for Texans Extra Points. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place. We thank you so much for watching because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. Until then, go Texans.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.